Hello, welcome to another English Sparkling with Tweedy video. I'm in a bit of a grump, to be honest. I'm in a fairly foul mood, and I thought perhaps my usual routine of the end of the working week, coming and sitting in the woods enjoying some sparkling wine, might take my mind off it a bit. So I was down in St James's earlier this week and I picked up this along with a couple of other bottles, perhaps not for this channel. This is 100 Hills. I think I've probably featured some of their wine before, quite possibly even this, but only 100 people would have seen that, and it's more than a year ago now, and anyone who was watching this nonsense a year ago probably isn't anymore. This is the Rosé. 2018, as you may recall, was that wonderfully hot year, the best year I think on record for English wine, really, in terms of yield and quality and everything else. There's some blurb on the back of the bottle, which I don't think it goes very technical. It says that no malolactic fermentation. That's as technical as it gets. As a recap, malolactic fermentation is an additional form of fermentation that some winemakers choose to have take place on the wine, converts the malic acid into lactic acid, that's the name, and that can remove some of the really harsh acidity, the malic acidity, that sort of green apple tang, which you may want or you may not, depending on what style of wine you're going for. Replaces it with lactic acid, so you get a sort of creamier effect, but that has not taken place here, so I'm expecting quite a zingy delight. Personally, I like bold, acidic English sparkling. Well, that's a pleasant colour, isn't it? It's a slightly orangey sort of pink. Can we call that a salmon-like colour? It's definitely got a twinge of something orange in addition to the rosé. The mousse has mostly dissipated, but there's a little bit of a ring around the edges. And they look from here to be quite nice, fine bubbles. What's that first nose then? Pre-swirl. I think that's red berry fruit. I'm reminded of raspberry mousse. Yeah, something like that. Quite pleasant. Almost a tiny hint of cherry in there as well. Yeah, or glacé cherry maybe. Something a little bit like that. That's really pretty. I like that. Nice Pinot character there. We have some berry fruit and some stone fruit, both reddish. Might be a little bit of apple in with that. Yeah, I think almost a slight sense of russet apples, one of my favourite apple varieties, Egremont russets. Perhaps it's just the name, but something about Egremont russets and the fact they have that very papery, rough skin makes it sound like I'm describing a rustic apple flavour, and I'm not really here. It's quite a refined apple note, but it is a bit like that particular scent of, I think that is like Egremont russets, which I actually think are quite a sophisticated apple, but they look rustic because they also look russety. Well, that's pretty nice. That's a nice start. See what a swirl does to that. Brings out the berry fruit a bit more, getting a bit more raspberry, a little bit of strawberry. It might be veering wild strawberry. I'm never sure we're ever really veering wild strawberry. It's just something I say when it's red berry fruit, but it's sort of dainty and pretty, and there probably are better metaphors for red, pretty, dainty berry fruit. Just a particularly high-end raspberry would do it. I'm in a funny mood, sorry. All right, just give this a sip. A bit drier and more mineral and zingier and more precise than that nose would suggest. I'm not complaining at all. I expected a bit more of a soft, gentle, fruity, juicy sort of a palate, but then this is sparkling wine, so it's going to head in a different direction. Lovely, yeah, lovely mineral, quite an intense sort of mineral water kind of undercomponent, is that a word? Underlying component to all of that. And then really nice mouth-watering zing, lovely mouthfeel from the bubbles, really tingly, fine bubbles, and really dry, really smart. The fruit is definitely there on the nose, getting lots of fruit on the nose. Lovely fruit expression on the nose. The palate is doing something a bit more different. It's a bit more dry, mineral, but not in a bad way. Perhaps on that second sip, I'm getting a little bit more of a sense of the fruit on the palate there as well. Sometimes it takes a sip or two to acclimatise to zingy ESWs, I find. And that previous note I was hinting at of kind of raspberry mousse on the nose earlier. I'm getting a sensation like that on the palate now as well. And lovely, really nicely expressed as well. Really light, really fresh, really elegant, sophisticated, lovely raspberry flavour underpinning all of that. Lovely. Really, really, really happy with that. Very nice indeed. Oh, a fly has landed in it. Literal fly in the ointment there. Here I am, mid-waxing lyrical about how wonderful this is. And almost immediately, typical, fly decides it's got to come and spoil it. Yeah, it's good. Have I said enough? Can I stop talking now? Looks like there's going to be a bit of a sunset over there. I am sat in the woods, so I'm not really going to be able to appreciate it very well, but I'm going to sit here and decompress. Try and be less grumpy about the state of the world. Listen to the birds. Probably won't film any more wine chat unless I have some amazing revelation that comes along later, but I don't think I need to really do. I think that's just really, really nice. Very happy with that. Well done, 100 Hills. Lovely to have something from Oxfordshire. Quintessentially English bit of England, isn't it? Oxfordshire. Lovely. Cheers.